Hey guys, welcome back. I'm at home in my garden again. Awesome. It's a beautiful day today. And I promised that I would talk a little bit about cold frames. So I was going to give you some different options of things that you can use as a cold frame and just some other ways to extend your growing season, including just covering up with mulch, using greenhouses, cold frames, etc. So let's go see some of the options that I have in my garden right now. Okay, so this is like a traditional cold frame. You probably saw this the other day when I was doing my carrots. And it's basically like a greenhouse, but it has no bottom on it. So you can literally set it right over the top of a bed like I did here. You can just leave it on the ground and put pots in it to keep them warm. Basically, it's just to kind of keep the frost off. You can see it opens up so you can let air in and it'll heat up during the day just like a greenhouse. This is another one of my favorite options, which is finding old lamp covers. Basically, they're glass. You could use plastic also, but you take all the parts off of them. I got a bunch of these for free last year, and I think I have a post on that from last year. But they work so good. They have some airflow from the screw holes on the top. They're open on the bottom. Basically, you just literally set them over whatever plants. I have some snapdragons in here, and I know that works really well because I actually did that with some of my snapdragons last year that I still have this year. So it worked really well. They heat up nicely. Here is another one of those. This one's just quite a bit larger. I actually have two large pepper plants in this one. And this one actually had one piece missing on this side. And if it ends up, if we get some crazy ice storm or snow, I will cover that up. But for now, it's right now just keeping the frost off and it is just fine. This is the one I had snapdragons in last year. And I just covered up that little empty spot with some plastic and it did great. And then another thing you can do, like I did in this bed right here, is you can just use mulch basically to help protect some of the plants that you have in your garden, to extend them a little bit or just keep them a little bit warmer. I actually planted garlic in here last week. It's already sprouted. So a couple days ago I chipped up some leaves. See how nice and fine they are, and I just put that on top. You don't have to chip up the leaves, but they will break down a little bit faster if you do. But in past years I haven't had time to chip them up, so I just put the whole ones on here. I actually did 2 layers in this one, so you can see over here there's some of the more whole leaves underneath, and then I added some of the chipped ones under here, and then what I have under here is my potatoes. So I'm hoping to just get maybe one more planting of potatoes in. But we'll see. It all depends on the weather, but this might keep the ground a little warmer just to see. Here's another option. This is basically just a mini greenhouse. I've usually start lots of seedlings in this every year. I think I've had a few hundred in here at a time. It's not that big, maybe 3.5 feet tall, but it can grow quite a bit and it heats up pretty fast because it's not so big. So it's really nice. Nothing too fancy, just from Amazon here. Same as the cold frame, just a little different shape. Got 3 shelves in it, so this works great too. Even something as simple as this. I like the glass ones and they can be very expensive. I found this one for a steal a few years ago and I love it so much. But you can use this one just like I did with the other cold frame. You can put this over some plants in the garden, or you can put your potted plants in it or some seedlings in it, and it'll heat up nice because it's not so big also. And here's just a smaller version of those other DIY ones that I've made out of the lamp pieces. This is a small one. I just added a handle to it, so it's great for some small seedlings or like a lettuce or 2 under there, just to give them a little head start or to keep the frost off. Okay, and then we have these beauties back here. This is the first year of having these. Now, if you have a whole lot of plants, like I did, that I'm trying to just overwinter basically, I don't need them to grow in here, but I want to keep them warm and not die so I don't have to replant them next year. Mostly a lot of non-hardy succulents and maybe a few cacti and things like that that are just not hardy. I've just got that filled up in here, and I might use them also to do some starting in the spring. But for now, these are going to be a little harder to keep warm though, so that's one thing. If you don't have a ton of plants, I would recommend some of the smaller options for keeping those through the winter. So hopefully some of those ideas interest you. I hope you will try some of them. It's just all about being creative. Obviously, I really love my garden to look beautiful, but I also want it to be useful and help me throughout the whole season. So these season extenders are great, and it's most of the time basically free. You can get leaves out of your own garden or your yard or your neighbors or whoever, rake them up and bring them home. You can ship them, you can leave them whole. You can put them in your compost bin and wait for next year, but they break down really great. So you'll start with amazing soil for the next season. And as far as the cloches, you can find plastic ones. You can make your own like I have done. If you're lucky enough to find beautiful antique glass ones, those are awesome. Just don't let them break. They're precious. But just, get creative. It's fun. It's always neat to be able to extend your growing season as long as you can. So have fun, get outside.